After the Springboks lineup against Ireland this weekend in what could be one of the most successful November series that the Springboks have played in my recent memory. I do think this is quite a straightforward team selection because we do have two 5-locks that are banned, Loet de Jager and Franco Mostert. We also have Jan-Hendrik Wessels, who's banned, and Rassie Erasmus has brought in Mchunu and Bongi Mbonambe to kind of fill in for some of those guys. Now, obviously, we've lost 2 locks. We've brought up a hooker and a prop. So that's kind of telling you, I think, where our weak points are. Rassie Erasmus also made so many changes in that first half against Italy. Boan Fenter hasn't been able to finish off one half against France or Italy. Zachary Porthen also got taken off, and Steenekamp and Volkolo came on for them. So I think that kind of tells you who Rassie Erasmus is going to back in a test match that is this big against Ireland. Ireland also coming off a very good result over Australia. But one thing I do think that has prepped the Springboks quite well for this game against Ireland is being in incredibly difficult situations against France and Italy and still managing to come out on top, and come out on top by quite a way. I think if the Springboks can just stay to 15 guys on the field against Ireland, we should be able to get through them, no problem. I think it's a 1-2-3 score game, and I think the Springboks will be absolutely revving to go here because Rassie did rest a lot of guys last weekend. It almost sort of backfired on Rassie Erasmus and the Springboks making those 11 changes, but it kind of shows you where the Springboks are in terms of depth, in terms of mindset, in terms of making a plan on the field. Now, I did say that I think this is quite a straightforward selection, and I think what's kind of happened over this year is that we've seen and we've come to know who is our best starting 15. I think with all the questions and all the answers that we've gotten this year, I think this will be the best team that we can put out, obviously bar the injuries, bar the suspensions, bar all of that nonsense. So if you haven't, let me know what you guys think down in the comments, who you think should be taking the field for the Springboks against Ireland. Please hit that subscribe button. We are so close to 50,000 subscribers, and leave this video a like. Let's get into this lineup. Now in the front row, I think this is probably the most contentious position in terms of the props. There is a couple of ways that you could go. I think really jerseys 1 and 3 are the most difficult to pick, but then sort of 2 to 23 I think kind of pick themselves, and I'm going to explain what I mean. So in the front row, I'm going to go for Steenekamp, I'm going to go for Malcolm Marx, and I'm going to go for Thomas du Toit. I think Thomas du Toit, Bob Oxenchair, has been our best prop this year. So I'm going to start Thomas du Toit in that 3 jersey. Steenekamp gets into that 1 jersey, and I think he probably should have started against Italy. Came on in that first half, and that kind of shows us that we weren't too dominant in the scrums, even when Steenekamp and Volkolo came on. I think you have to give credit to Italy for that. But I think Rassie isn't happy with Boan Fenter and Zachary Porthen in the scrum at the moment. So I think he's going to start Steenekamp and Thomas du Toit, and then I'm going to start Malcolm Marx in that number 2 jersey, who seems to be back at his best and trending in the right direction. Then into the locks, and again, these pick themselves because without Loet de Jager, without Franco Mostert, I think Rassie Erasmus is going to go for Eben Etzebeth and Ruan Nokia. I, in my opinion, think that's our best 4 and 5 combo at the moment, regardless of if the other guys were fit and weren't banned. I think that is still our best lock combination. The stats when Ruan Nokia are on the field are by far better than when he's off the field. We win more line-out ball. Our scrums perform a little bit better. He loves the dark arts of rugby, and he performs extremely well at them. So we need to have him on the field. Then our Lucy's pick themselves. Siya Kolisi at 6, Pieter-Steph du Toit at 7, Jasper Visser at 8. I don't think we're going to be looking for anything outside of that. Marco van Staden started at 8 last week. I thought he was really good up until that yellow card. But I don't think he's going to be starting ahead of Jasper Visser, and I don't think we're going to be starting Kwagga Smith ahead of Jasper Visser either. Marco van Staden could potentially play in that 6 jersey, but I just think Sia's kind of rested. He has played 2 halves of rugby against France and Italy, and I think him as captain kind of takes us to another level. So Sia at 6, and then obviously Pieter-Steph du Toit at 7. No Franco Mostert. I don't think Ben Jason Dixon's going to get a shot here, and you got to feel a little bit sorry for Ben Jason Dixon after that red card kind of being subbed off. Someone had to go off. Last week it was Sia, this week it was Ben Jason Dixon. So I think that's a pretty formidable pack, and I think at the moment that's our most informed pack that we can go with. Then into the back line, and I think we're going to see a very, very similar back line to what we saw against France. I think we're going to go Kobus Reinach and Sasha Feinberg and Nguma Zulu in that 9 and 10 combination. Yes, Morne van den Berg was good last week. I thought Pollard did what Pollard does. I didn't think he was fantastic. I thought he had actually a very, very average game, and he just doesn't provide that X factor that Amani Lebok or Sasha does. When we're under the pump, when it's 0-0 up until the 25th minute or whatever it was, when it was super close at halftime. You need that fly off that's going to be able to kick the door down, make something happen, make something special happen. And I think Sasha is that guy in the number 10 jersey for the Springboks at the moment. And him and Kobus Reinach's partnership is kind of what Rassie Erasmus has been favouring. So I think we're going to see Kobus and Sasha. Then into the midfield, 12 and 13, we had Ethan Hooker and Kane and Moody up against Italy. Unfortunately, the experiment couldn't run its course because Ethan had to move to wing. Andre Esterhazen came on at inside centre. Kane and Moody, I thought, wasn't great on defence. He was a lot better on attack. And I think we spoke in the preview that we thought Andre Pollard would put up contestable kicks in the midfield for Ethan Hooker and Kane and Moody to sort of get under them. We did in sort of the first minutes, but Italy got a lot of aerial dominance and they were very, very good. I mean, aerially, they dominated us. Set piece, they dominated us. South Africa just kind of stuck it out and then capitalized at the end there. So it's difficult to beat the Springboks at the moment, and you do have to sort of tip your cap to Italy and how well they played. Yes, we were one man down, but for them to make it that competitive for that long was very impressive. But in the midfield, I'm going to go for Damien Delende and Jesse Creel. I think they are still our best centre combination. So much experience for both of them, so much experience together, and it's been working really nicely with Sasha, Damien, and Jesse with what we saw in that France game. Then into the wings, do we go for Ethan Hooker, who's been in some really good form? Do you go for Edwil van der Merwe, who you kind of know is going to score when he pitches up for the Springboks? But I think we have to go for Kurtley Arendse and Cheslin Colby. On the wings, I think they've been our most informed wings. Yes, Kurtley Arendse is sort of coming back from injury, but what we saw against France, Kurtley Arendse is definitely up to standard. Then fullback, we kind of only really have one choice, and that's Damian Willemsen. I thought he was phenomenal against Italy, showed some really good composure, really calmed things down when Italy were putting South Africa under a lot of pressure at the back there. So Damian Willemsen gets the nod at 15. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the exact same backline that took on France a couple of weeks ago. If you look 1 to 15, an extremely experienced starting 15. Yes, you got Gerrit Steenekamp sort of coming in. You got Ruan Nokia, who's maybe not as experienced, but the rest are right up there. And I think that 15 is going to put Ireland under a lot of pressure. We then look at the bench, and I've gone for a 6-2 bench split. I'm kind of looking at Andre Esterhazen as a forward now, so he fits into that 6-2 bench split. Replacement hooker, we could go for Bongi Benambe, but I just don't think Rassie is going to do that. Jan Grobler played 18 minutes of rugby for the Springboks last week, so you could argue that maybe Rassie's going to rest him. I think he's going to be on the bench. Jan Grobler in the number 16 jersey for me. I think Mchunu is going to get the shout and the call up for that number 17 jersey, and then 18, I'm going to go for Volko Low. Into the lock department, we're only going to go with one lock. RG Snyman is going to get that nod from me. For the Lucies, I'm going to go Andre Esterhazen and Kwagga Smith, and you kind of saw the value of Andre Esterhazen last week. He can slot in at 6, he can slot in at 12. He is probably the most key player in a Springbok top at the moment. Kwagga Smith finishing off the forwards, and then I'm going to go for the trusty duo of Grant Williams and Mani Lebok. You guys let me know what you think. It's a massive test match coming up against Ireland. Let me know your predicted 23 down in the comments. Leave this video a like, and as always, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.